Arduino for Beginners, Episode 32, Soil Moisture Sensors. Now these soil moisture sensors can easily be found on eBay, Amazon, Geek, DX, all kinds of different places on the internet. And they're all pretty much the same. I've seen some slight variations, mostly colors. Some of them will be this color, some will be red. But they all work the same way. And some of them also come with this little board here. This is an analog to digital. If you're going to be using the soil sensor, moisture sensor with an Arduino, you really don't need this. This is more for if you're going to use it without an Arduino. You could actually use this with this little board to control a solenoid for watering a plant, but no Arduino needed. But if you were going to be using a bunch of these, like controlling a greenhouse with an Arduino, and you're controlling the temperature, the soil moisture, humidity, all that, well then you go ahead and don't use this and then connect an Arduino. Otherwise, if you were just going to connect this to water a plant, you can use this little board. I'm not going to go into how this works. I'm just saying, if that's all you want to control, don't waste your money and time trying to hook up with an Arduino. Just use this little module, and you can use it with a solenoid and a relay if the solenoid pulls too much power. But alright, well with that, I have it hooked up here, and I just got an LED hooked up instead of the solenoid, because that'd take up a little too much room on the table, and I'm not going to hook water up to show you it pouring, but just by grabbing and touching the two leads, it'll make enough contact and moisture, and it'll sense it, and you see the LED goes off. So what would happen is when the soil got to a certain dryness, and when we get to the sketch, I'll show you how you set that. Well, then the LED, as you see, turned on. What that would normally be controlling, once again, is your solenoid. Now, the main use for these is for the moisture content in soil. You can also use this though if you had like a watering trough for an animal or something, and you wanted to have it automatically fill when it gets so low. You could use one of these as well, and just, you know, when the water comes up and contacts this, well then it would turn on, and then you'd have another one for a low point, so you'd actually need two of them for that. But once again, we're not going to go into that. Now to hook this up is pretty easy. Now you can just hook power to one side, and there's no polarity to it. And actually, I do recommend, if you are going to be using this long term, every once in a while, probably like at least once a month, switch the polarity of the leads. The sensor will last longer. It will eventually corrode up and wear out, but they do last for quite a while. So just reverse the polarity every once in a while, and it will last a lot longer. But what we're doing, like I said, is we got power coming into one side, then the other side is going to our analog pin, and I've got it on analog pin 0. But I also did find is to make it have stabler and more accurate readings, I took a real high valued resistor. I think this is a 1 meg, somewhere around there. It's a real high value. And I put that between the pin that goes to the analog input of the Arduino, and I put it to ground. And that just pulls it low. So when there is nothing on it, it is at 0. But it makes it more accurate for the readings, and you don't have to use it. You can go ahead and use it without it. I'm not going to make up a schematic for this because it's so easy, but if you play with this, you'll see what I mean. Just throw in a resistor and put it between the pin that goes to your analog input, and then run it from that to ground. And like I said, a 1 mega ohm will work fine. You can use even larger, 10 mega ohm, whatever. Just at least a 1 meg. Alright, with that, I think we'll just go over to the computer then, and I'll show you the sketch real quick. I mean, it's super basic. It's just we're doing an analog read, and when the value gets to a certain point, it just turns the solenoid on or whatever, and I just have it set up on the LED. And actually, I have it on the pin 13, so if you wanted to try this, you don't even have to have the LED, because on your Unos and Nanos and Megas too, if I remember right. Actually, I think on the Mega the LED pin is different, but it does have one. So I just put the LED in there, make it easier for you to see for the tutorial. But yep, normally you would just use that pin to control the solenoid to turn the water off and on, or whatever else. Maybe there's something else you wanted to have it do when the soil gets to a certain dryness. So, all right, well, let's go over to the computer and check out the sketch. Okay, I've got the Arduino IDE opened up and I've got the sketch loaded in here. Now, if you'd like a copy of the sketch, so you can just copy it and paste it in your Arduino IDE, just look in the description below and you'll find a link to this project's webpage. And you'll find the sketch on there, so you can just copy it and paste it. You'll also find some other info on the parts list, and also where to get one of these moisture sensors if you don't have one. So, all right, well, the first thing we have here is we got our integer, and I just called it soil, and this is where we're storing the reading we're getting from the soil sensor. Then I'm just defining the LED that's on pin 13. Now, normally this would be what you'd want to control. Instead of an LED, this would probably be a solenoid, so you'd probably want to rename it solenoid or water. And you can also put it on any digital pin you want. You don't have to use pin 13. Now next we have our serial begin, and we're running this at 9600, and this is just so we can figure out our readings. Now I got the serial monitor opened up. Now you can see it's still getting a little jumpy readings of low values even with that big resistor on there. I might try putting a smaller value and see if I can get that to stable out some more, but this is still way better than if I didn't have that resistor in there. It was jumping around quite a bit then. But you can see right here, this is, if the soil is completely dry, this is the readings you get. Now I'm going to go ahead and touch it. You can see it goes up all the way to 1023. So what you'll need to do is put this in the soil and kind of figure out at what moisture rate you want this to turn the water on. Now, I've set it at 500 right here, you can see, but we'll get to that in a moment. So, all right, we'll continue on with the sketch. Well, we're just doing our pin mode for the LED as an output. But like I said, this would most likely be for a solenoid, so you just change that. Name it whatever you want. Just make sure it matches the name up here. Now in the void loop, what we're doing is we're setting our integer, and we're just doing an analog read, and I'm using analog pin 0. You can use any of the analog pins, 0 to 5 on the Uno, and the Mega has more, so use any pin you want. And I'm just doing a serial print, and we're printing that value. Now, once you have this all figured out, you could comment this line out, same with the serial begin. You comment it out, or just delete it outright, either way. Then I'm doing a delay, because you don't really need this thing reading like every millisecond. And I did a 250. You could probably get away. I would actually probably recommend putting something in here bigger, like just do a reading every minute or maybe every 10 minutes. You don't really need to check it super often. Then what we're doing is we got our if statement here. Now if the soil moisture is less than 500, it digital writes, turns on the LED or your solenoid. Else it just writes it low. So that means once this comes up above the value above 500, it'll go ahead and shut off. So it's not going to continuously water. Now there's some other ways to set this up. I'm just showing you the basic way to do it. And actually in the next tutorial I'm going to be doing, I am going to hook this up and set up a garden water, and I'm going to have the solenoid on there. I'm also going to have a moisture and temperature sensor with some relays for controlling. We're pretty much just going to be doing a greenhouse controller, and that's what the next episode is going to be. So, all right, well, that's all there is to the sketch. I hope it made sense to you. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Don't worry if I don't get back to you right away. Sometimes I don't catch the comments and questions that are left for a day or two, but I do try to get back to people. You can also go to Facebook, the Facebook page, and I'll try to remember to put a link to that below as well. And I get notified of that more often than I do comments on YouTube. So if you got a real important question, you could leave it on the Facebook page. So, all right, with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us here at the Z Hut today. If you found this information useful, please give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it big time. So with that, I'll just say I hope you have a great day. And remember, have fun building.